Hey, what's up and welcome. You're listening to Sneak Up on the Pedestrian Podcast Network, your place for art, music, culture, skate, surf, everything. Today, we're live from Commune in Surrey Hills, where we're holding the House of Vans for this year. It's a lovely place, and today we're talking to the one and only Tony Alva. Tony.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you, dude. It's such a pleasure. So I guess probably the first thing that I wanted to ask is, what exactly are you doing here?
Well, you know, the House of Vans is something that we do internationally. We do the House of Vans events all over the world. And it's really exciting because it involves not only what we love to do, you know, on a daily basis, that involves skateboarding and music and art, but also being here in Sydney, there's a connection to a few other things that are significant in the cultural lifestyles of a lot of the youth here, and it's connected to even surfing. And we're just going to have like an event that involves creative expression, that involves people being attached to, I think, what the city's all about. Kind of have that vibe of just like a lot of people together, just having a good time.
Cool. So what's actually going to be going down?
Oh, yeah, there's going to be bands playing later in the afternoon, but there'll be some skateboarding going on. We have different areas that will have art projects for people to be involved in. We will have a screening area. The list goes on. We have quite a few things. I mean, that's just the tip of the iceberg.
For sure. There's a lot of bases to cover.
Definitely. But I think the skateboarding for me is really exciting. And I obviously, being here from the States, I get to meet one-on-one a lot of the kids, you know, whether they be fans or not. And just the meet and greet part for me is really exciting because I just, you know, I don't always get the opportunity to come like 10,000 miles across the planet and then just have a bunch of, you know, just enthusiastic youth that are reaching out to be a part of my experience and to be a part of my story, you know, as a professional skateboarder. And it goes way beyond just riding the board. You know, I think that for me, a lot of times it's sharing my experience and sharing my vision and just my hope and my strengths, you know, and hopefully they get something from that. Because I know I get something from just being in contact with the kids nowadays. I've had the opportunity to be an ambassador for Vans for quite a few years. And it's a wonderful experience based on just giving back a little bit, you know, and hopefully I can do that.
Sick. And is there anyone in particular that you're tipping you're really keen to meet now that you're in Sydney? Any young skaters?
You know, everybody and anybody that's involved with Vans is part of my family. So it's really kind of like having a good time and organically being involved in the evolution of skateboarding. And I'm just here to be one of the kids. In a way, you know, it's cool because I don't know who that person is yet, but I'm sure that I will meet them and I'm sure that it's going to happen. Whether it's one person, 10, 100, 1,000, whatever, you know, it's kind of funny because I think about, you know, the day and age that we're in right now with like social networking and stuff. And when I first started doing like a couple pictures on Instagram, I was kind of like, well, you know, I don't really need to do this and I'm not really into it, but I'll do it if it's fun. And it became fun, you know, and I started putting different pictures maybe just once a month just to see what would happen, see if people appreciated it. Well, I don't know how long it's been because, you know, Instagram's relatively new still, but it just accumulated through being involved in it just for fun. I think I have like 110,000 followers now, and it's nothing but love, you know. It's really positive. It's really cool. There's not a lot of problems with where I have to confront somebody due to their opinion or any negative input. I can take the criticism and take it or leave it, you know. It's not a big deal to me. But most of the things that I do involving even my social networking is based around being creative and having fun.
For sure. That was kind of following into my next question, I guess, is like, you know, from what I've heard, the Z-Boys and Dogtown in general seem to be this really like quite tough, rough place to be skating. Would you say that it's that sort of tough vibe still exists in skating? Has it changed?
Yes, because skateboarders are like really, as far as athletes, we're we're pretty like indestructible to a certain extent.
Oh yeah, well,
Even though
you get
we're
hurt.
flesh and blood. Skateboarders are known for being really rugged and very tough, and what the roots of it comes from surfing, you know. So we're sidewalk surfers, but you know it's a lot different when you fall off your surfboard and you just swim in and la da da. You know, you get your board, you paddle back out. Not that surfing is not tough, because it is. Believe me, there's some spots even near here in Sydney that can really do some damage to you if you don't know what you're doing out there. But skateboarding, it definitely brings out some rugged parts of people's character, and it takes some determination to fall and get up on the board and do it again and be able to accomplish something through pure determination, you know, and being determined to be indomitable, you know, and just go out there and just really not accept defeat, you know. And so I think when we were young, we had to be that way. That's how we survived. You know, we were street kids, but at the same time, we had that attitude of like, you know, it was like pretty much an FU attitude, you know. It was just like, it's us against them. We're skaters. You don't understand us. It was kind of the original punk rock attitude, and we took it to another level. But like I said, it comes from something very beautiful, and aesthetically, to me, one of my favorite things in the world is to get up in the morning and go surfing. It comes from something very beautiful and kind of almost hippie ethos.
Yeah,
you know,
a little, yeah,
like groovy, you know. So, but skateboarding is really edgy. It's always had that edginess to it. It's always had that attitude of aggressiveness, and it's always been a bit competitive, you know. So, I think at this level, skateboarding technically is amazing, and there's no limit to where you can take it. But I also think I've seen just lately the camaraderie in skateboarding has gotten a lot better. It's gotten more fluid. It's become more of, kind of has a family ethos to it. And I think especially with the Vans team in general, like our team internationally is a big family. And so when you go to different cities and you hook up with your bros, you know, with your brothers, and you're actually out there skateboarding with them and stuff, it's a really cool experience. It's very much an expression session, you know?
Expression session.
Yeah,
I love that,
it's
dude.
really cool, man.
That's
It's
really
really
nice.
cool. It's a really cool thing to be involved in. And it's not about being the best. It's not about showing everybody up. It's more about sharing.
Sick. Oh, and so you've said there that like you think there's a lot more camaraderie involved in skating nowadays. How do you think that the main changes have taken place compared to how skating was in the 70s?
Well, because of what you mentioned to begin with, and you asked me about the Dogtown Boys. I mean, the Dogtown Boys, we didn't love nobody but us.
Why?
You know, it was all about our crew. Well, we were very competitive. We were very territorial. The surfers that we grew up around were super territorial. They had these certain spots, and you could not come in or even get out without being part of that family. It was more of that Wolfpack attitude. And I don't think that skateboarding is as much the Wolfpack attitude anymore. I think it's grown beyond that because of the fact that it's not only an international phenomenon, but it's also something that, even though it came from Southern California, the culture involved with skateboarding is that we want everybody to be a part of it, you know, and to love it and stuff. And we're not all, you know, peace, flowers, you know, love vibe all the time. There's definitely some moments. The us against them thing still exists as far as skateboarders and authority. But I think when it comes to other skaters, we're much more open to let everybody have their little part of the pie, whatever you want to, you know, we're all sharing that love for that flavor. You know, the flavor of skateboarding is like, you know, okay, what's the flavor of the day? You know, we're all going to go out street skating, or we're going to go skate pools, or we're going to go skate like the new skate park in Sydney or whatever, you know, and there's just different flavors, you know, there's apple pie one day and there's strawberry rhubarb the next, you know, whatever. So, but it's still skateboarding, and it's the same pie. It's just different flavors.
Oh, sounds pretty yummy.
Yeah, it is good. I mean, life is yummy if you want to make it such. But I've always felt that skateboarding has given me the opportunity to really share something that I really love, and to travel around the world doing it is priceless, you know. And if you find something that you really love in your life and you get to do it for a living, you've pretty much found something that a lot of people search for their entire life.
For sure.
And I'm grateful for, you know, what surfing and skateboarding in my life represents, because it represents freedom, you know, and that freedom is priceless.
Definitely. And I guess
Yes.
I want to touch there on what you said about like it becoming this global sort of community of skaters. Like, I mean, you know, it started in the US and it moved to a whole bunch of Western countries, but nowadays I'm sure there's skating everywhere. What do you think some of those other like more unexpected countries are bringing to the skate scene that were never there before?
Well, there's different styles. I mean, you can go from the way that a Brazilian skateboarder approaches skateboarding to a kid from Japan. You know, it's just like everybody has a different accent to what they do. Like when you see like a rock band from Melbourne, or, you know, a punk band from Melbourne is different from a punk band from LA or New York or London or whatever. You know, everybody has a different style and approach to what they're doing, even though it can be the same genre. It will be done in a stylistically different flavor. Back to the flavor thing, you know. But I think it represents style, really. Where do your roots come from? I mean, the street cred that comes from punk rock music and from skateboarding has always been synonymous. But I can tell the difference between a band from London and a band from Melbourne in a heartbeat. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And the similar way that I can tell a kid that's from Sao Paulo, Brazil, and a kid that's from Los Angeles street skating at the same time. Like, for some reason, I will know instantly which kid came from the third world country, you know?
Yeah.
A lot of times what it has to do is with gratitude, too. I mean, like, I see these kids that come out of these really bad neighborhoods, and they don't have anything, you know, to live for except for skateboarding. And they find that passion in their life, and it takes them to a new place, you know? And wow, it's really, really... it's a pretty miraculous transformation that you can see when you see some kid that never really expected anything except pure enjoyment from something, and then the next thing you know, they're making a living from doing it, and they can actually bring back some money to their family, you know, maybe in a country that's not as fortunate as some of the countries that, you know, I have the opportunity to visit. You know, we're really lucky in cities like Sydney and cities like Los Angeles, you know, and I've been to other cities, especially in third world countries, where the kids are not so fortunate and they really have to work their way up, and it instills a different attitude in them when they actually reach that level of accomplishment compared to maybe somebody that always expected it to be there for them, you know. And I won't name any names, but I'll definitely tell you that there are examples of that.
Oh, for sure. And anywhere, I guess.
Some of the, you know, the youth that come from Africa and stuff and end up having the opportunity to get a good education, you know, in Western countries, and then actually go on to be a professional athlete, getting paid millions of dollars a year. You know, skateboarders are getting that attitude, and also that the opportunity to do the same things. They're starting to be able to really take it to the next level, especially considering that now they're going to start, you know, incorporating skateboarding and surfing in like the Olympic Games and stuff like that.
I was just about to ask that.
Well,
yeah.
I'm not that pro Olympics, if you want to know the truth, only because of the fact that I think the IOC has a part in it, and the IOC sometimes can be very greed motivated. But I won't get into that right now. But I think in the long run, is anything that's going to push skateboarding to the next level and give the youth opportunities to express themselves and or make a decent living, it's beneficial. So there's pros and cons to everything, especially, you know, what's going to go down in Japan with the Olympics. And we'll see what happens. We'll just see what happens, you know. And the thing about politics and like religion, stuff like that, these very controversial topics that come up, you know, in my lifetime, is that I concentrate on what I really know best, and that's my experience. And I don't really have an opinion on the politics and religious things, not in public.
Yeah,
you know,
right.
I have personal opinions on those things. But I can speak about what I really know, and what I really know, I know House of Vans. There goes our bus right there. No, I know surfing, I know skateboarding, I know music. I know a lot about that stuff because I've lived it, and it's my passion. And to use it as an outlet, you know, to reach the youth is really important, because I carry a message. And I carry a message of hope. I carry a message of strength. I carry a message of freedom. And the reason that I'm able to carry that message is because I still do it. I love it. I enjoy it. I get paid to do it, but I don't do it because I'm getting paid.
Yeah.
And so that's what I want to share, you know, with the youth more than anything, is just like, if you're doing it for the right reasons and you're having fun, then you deserve to get paid.
100%.
And if you lose that spark and you lose that enthusiasm and you become real negative and you become one of those people that's just a hater no matter how good things are, you still just have that bad attitude, there's no gratitude, then maybe you shouldn't go in that direction. Maybe professional skateboarding is not really your passion or your path in life.
I want to circle back to the question about the Olympics really quickly and just ask, like, I mean, the Olympics is going to bring a whole bunch of people, like everyone for the most part knows skateboarding, but
yes,
the Olympics are going to bring skateboarding into like a light which is, I would say, probably never really been seen before. What do you think that's going to do to the culture? Do you think it's going to be positive? There are going to be more people skating?
I think that if they treat it with respect, and I think that the media has to realize that, skateboarding is a hard activity to judge too, though. So the judging,
true.
they're going to have to figure out a way to judge it as fairly as possible. And I see, like, similar to what Vans is doing with the skate park series, I think that might be the best format to use as far as skateboarding goes. I don't really see street skating or any other format as easily contestable when it comes to having a fair result of competition. Mm-hmm. So I'm thinking probably the best way to do it, and also for audience, appreciation and involvement, is to have that skate park set up, to where they're in an arena, they're in there, everybody gets their runs or their 2 or 3 runs, they're judged on the best run. There's different representatives from every country, at least probably 2 or 3. Women are involved, definitely. They can't just have it be a men's thing.
No way.
It's got to have the ladies.
Yeah.
The ladies rip nowadays. They deserve their time,
Absolutely.
in the park. And, I think they've really got to think about it and do it so that it appeals to the media, but so it also appeals to the audience, and it takes care of the athlete.
Definitely.
And not worry so much about the TV ratings and the money and all of the, the things that are important for the rich getting richer kind of thing, because, that and disenfranchising like third world cultures in order for the IOC to profit. I mean, that's a whole nother discussion. But, in the past, there's been what happened in Greece, what happened in Brazil, what happened in China, there's some things that need to be changed.
For sure.
So they need to be conscious of that stuff.
My other question, I guess, was because it's going to be getting seen by so many more people. I mean, like, skating, even though it has become so much more widespread, is probably still seen by a lot of people as undesirable and rough. Like, we all see a lot of videos of security guards and other people having a go at skaters in the street.
But I think they sensationalize that too, though, because it doesn't always happen like that.
True, but I guess I was going to ask, do you think that it's going to become more, it's more available for people to skate everywhere? Like, do you think there are going to be more parks going on? Do you think there are going to be less rails?
I would hope so.
I
think that you need to give skaters their own sanctuaries. If you don't want them out in public being a public nuisance, there will always be hardcore skateboarders, because I know I came from the streets, but at the same time, I'm a backyard pool skater too, which can be a nuisance to different, communities.
Pool cleaners.
To people that own houses that have nice pools in the backyard, and you're in there skating their pool. You're doing damage to their property. Skating will always have that rebellious nature. You're not going to get rid of that. And I don't think that it should be completely extinguished. But I also feel that if you give somebody a sanctuary, if you give communities places to skate that are conducive to them expressing themselves, and they feel safe there, but also at the same time they feel like they can push their art form to the next level and, be a part of something that's exciting. But I don't think you'll ever get rid of that kind of that rogue gangster pirate, skate and destroy kind of image, because it is part of skateboarding. It is part of the ethos for some skaters, including myself when I was young. I think keep it progressing, keep the progress going, give them a progressive environment to where they really feel like you're not just throwing them a bone, like you're really working with them. Yeah. I think that's what we're trying to do here at House of Vans. We're giving the youth something exciting and fun to do, and even though it's maybe just a pop-up thing, you got to understand, if you can make like 10 kids, if you can fuel their desire and get that fire of like enthusiasm to burn bright, those 10 kids turn into 100, those 100 turn into 1,000, those 1,000 turn into 100,000. So we're just lighting the fire right now. We're here to share with everybody and anybody that's interested in not only what skateboarding and music and art and, all of these different facets of the skate community are about, but what Vans is about. Because Vans, our mantra is off the wall. We want you to understand and feel the excitement and the energy and that pure 100% like we're stoked feeling of off the wall. And if you're smart, you'll show up with your Vans on too.
I did.
Make sure you wear your checkerboards.
For sure.
Yeah.
I do want to talk about the shoes, actually. I would say that, look, the Vans that you designed have become the skating shoe, 100%. But so few people would actually know why it's so well suited to skating. Do you reckon you could give us like a technical rundown on why the actual makeup of the shoe is so good for what it is?
The best thing about the Vans shoes from the day one has always been the gum rubber sole. The waffle sole that's made out of gum rubber is super, super good for skateboarding because of the contact and the feeling that it gives you when you're actually riding your board. But the other thing that's really good about Vans is that for the money that you put out for a pair of shoes, they don't just fall apart in a week or whatever. You know, it's like, I think basically it's a good product that's affordable, but that's a functional part of what skateboarding is supposed to feel like. It's sidewalk surfing. It's like, you know, when we're skating in bowls, when we're skating in half pipes, when we're skating in skate parks, we want something that feels almost like we don't have shoes on, but that they're a part of the board, you know, that gives you that confidence, the confidence that you need to stay on your board and be able to not only get in and out of maneuvers, but do them with style and grace. If I was wearing a pair of basketball shoes or a pair of like, you know, what are the boots they wear in Australia? With the little
Like an RM Williams.
Yeah, when you're wearing like the
like farm boots.
Yeah, it's like you're not gonna be able to skate too good with those on. You know what I mean? It's just not gonna feel right. You know, I'm not gonna go out and skate in like some kind of street shoe that like Nick Cave would wear or whatever. I would rather have a pair of Vans on. And I'm not dissing Nick Cave. I love the guy. You know, and he's got great style. He's got great style, but not so much on a board.
No, I couldn't imagine it.
Yeah, but you know, the main thing is for Vans is that we have something that involves form and function, and that's our Vans shoes, and the most classic era shoes as well as the classic shoes, the high tops, the old school fashion with the side stripe. Those are what work for us. Anything that can make it work a little bit better on top of where the shoe originally came from, more power to you. But for me, I like the classic style, the original.
Vans in general have become so crazy widely popular, not just among skaters, but among
they're
people.
They're a fashion icon as well as a skateboarding.
Absolutely.
Tool,
I guess what I want to know there is how do you feel knowing that people are wearing shoes that were originally designed for skating, even though they might not skate?
You know, I have a lot of friends that are involved in fashion, and friends and family that are involved in fashion, and I try to take the best of both worlds. You know, I want to take something that looks good, but that feels good, but that's going to work good for skateboarding, but I'm not going to leave my Vans out of the equation. You know, it's kind of like that old sticker that Vans used to make that says, "Man, I need my Vans," you know, and it shows the guy with the bloody feet. His feet are all messed up and he just says, "Man, I need my Vans." Well, you know, I think for me, I got like 6 different skateboards. They work for different things. And in any different event, they're like arrows. I'll whip one out and I know exactly which one I need. And the one that I even brought for this event from LA, I think is going to be the right one. It's going to be the right tool for the job. Shoes are the same way. I think you need to have 4 or 5 different pairs of Vans, man. And it's just like you got to know which ones are going to work for that day. And whip them out and use them, you know, and use them for, you know, basically not only to enhance your performance, but so that it kind of goes with what your theme is there for the day. Now, that might sound a little trendy and a little kind of too much thought into it, but it's not. You know, it's about mood too, though. But I'm not a slave to my moods. I'm going to have rhyme and reason to go with those moods. It's not just going to be just purely because I'm in a certain mood and I feel like being whimsical. I got to really think about it and think of what's going to work best for me in that situation. And I call that the quiver theory.
I like that.
Got to have more than one arrow, man.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I guess I want to go back to that thing about fashion that you said earlier, like that wearing Vans sort of, you know, legitimizes an outfit. I've seen a lot of skate brands coming out and sort of saying that they don't like that certain people are wearing their clothes, like certain celebrities and people that don't skate. What's your take on people appropriating skate fashion?
The moment that you're judging somebody else is the moment that you will be judged too. So I think the freedom to express yourself the way that you feel, just like as in freedom of speech, that everybody should be able to express themselves according to what they feel is a personal part of their experience. So I personally would not, just because somebody doesn't skate or whatever, try and judge them. I mean, there are certain people that are perpetrators and that will use skateboarding to give themselves a certain level of street credibility. But it's best really not to get involved in those kind of arguments. You know, if somebody has something good to say about me personally, I know who I am. Flattery doesn't make me any better, but criticism doesn't make me any worse. So you got to kind of understand, if you put yourself in that situation to where you really want to know who you are, then flattery and criticism shouldn't really affect you either way. So you got to remember that if you feel that way personally, don't subject other people to that either. And I think you have to give everybody the freedom to associate their art form with the lifestyle that Vans represents.
So I guess also you seem to be so busy all the time. Can you give us like an average day in your life at the moment?
I'm not really that busy all the time. I'll tell you, because there are times and days where I've done like a lot of work on the road, and I get home and I get up in the morning, I go surfing, I come back from home and just kind of hang around the house, play with my dogs. I have 3 little crazy chihuahuas that I'm like, I'm the papa, I'm the papa bear. I will hang out and, listen to music or maybe play music for a while. I play bass guitar, but I also play a few different musical instruments that I enjoy. And I go to rehearsal and rehearse with my band. We do shows. We play live engagements all over the world, including especially in the Los Angeles area, in California, all over the West Coast. Skateboarding to me, even though it's my job, it's something that I enjoy. Mm-hmm. So when I feel like I need to get out, a lot of times, which is really cool, is I'll go places, just on my own and unannounced, of course, and I'll run into like kids, or their parents will recognize me or something at a place skating, usually skate parks in LA and stuff. And they'll be like, do you know who that is? And then, next thing you know is I'm meeting these little kids, that are learning how to skateboard. And we're like taking photos together for their Instagram page. And we're just, just doing really fun stuff, and like, I just find that skateboarding is constantly doing for me what I could not do for myself. It's just kind of like when I'm out there, just do what I do best, but like just having a good attitude about it and having fun. I find that something really cool always happens, So in my daily life, it's just take it easy. When I have time to really just be myself and just be a California kid like anybody else, go out and do that and be just a California kid, especially in a city like Los Angeles. I'll always be a surfer. It's part of my my spiritual like connection to the planet, to the universe. Being a surfer is really important in my life too. So those are my passions, and those are like definitely things that I hope I can contribute some sort of insight to other people that are stoked about it by just walking the walk and just being involved in it and not trying to be like king of the hill. It's not about being the best one out there. It's about just being part of.
And you say you love surfing, and we all know you love surfing, but you just got here earlier today, so you haven't been surfing yet. But what are your favorite Australian surfing spots? Oh
man, I went to Byron Bay one time, and it was pretty amazing. That was a really amazing spot. And I like surfing in cold water sometimes because it thins the crowd as well as makes the experience a little bit more challenging. So going down to Tassie is pretty interesting too. Yeah, that would have been pretty gnarly. There are some beautiful spots in Tasmania. I got to surf Raglan's over in New Zealand. That was pretty amazing. That's a pretty crowded spot, but definitely a quality wave. And I look forward to exploring, because Australia there's a lot of variety when it comes to what you can experience as a surfer here. But I would just like to give props to some of the most influential surfers, ever in the history of surfing, and a lot of them are Australian. And one of my favorites is the late great is Midget Farley from Manly Beach. I really love. I've always loved Wayne Lynch. He's an amazing talent. Michael Peterson, Ted Spencer, Nat Young. Can't leave Nat Young out of the equation. Terry Fitzgerald. The list goes on. I love, like, a lot of Australian surfers are very significant to my influence as far as style and attitude goes. I would say Rabbit Bartholomew, definitely a favorite of mine from the Gold Coast. The Australian surfers are not only prolific, but they're soul surfers, and they've always had to have an aesthetic for style. And I think they do it for the right reasons. They do it because they're real surfers. It's in their heart, it's in their blood, it's in their genes. It's genetically a part of surfing. The late great Duke Kahanamoku brought surfing here to Australia, and the surfing community in Australia picked it up and ran with it. And look at where surfing's at in Australia today. I mean, surfing loves Australia. It works both ways.
We've got plenty of space for it.
Oh, yeah, yeah. And it's a healthy way to live your life if you really want something in your life that really gives you a feeling of like being alive. You want to be alive? Paddle out and catch a wave.
Well, Tony, thank you so much for being on board. It's been such a pleasure talking to you, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your stay.
Thank you very much, man. Appreciate it.
All good, dude. All
right.
good.
Peace.